It's Euro 2024 outright and £1 million picks edition of the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with a new Pick 8. Sign up with our code PLGP to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code PLGP. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get the best data-driven props and picks from Rhythm. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from, if you didn't know, Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is, I've got no idea, Monday the 10th of June, and we are here to get across the outright markets for Euro 2024, which starts in 4 days from now. Round about this time in 4 days, Scotland will be 3-0 down, maybe. Might be clinging on to 2-0, something like that. It's about 5 minutes before half-time in 4 days. But we haven't picked any outrights. We dipped into the group markets last week, but we haven't dipped into the outright, so we'll go double bubble with that, and we will throw a mythical £1 million at the tournament and see what shit we can make stick. Joining me from Nottingham upon Trent is Mr. Barry Penaluna. Baz, how you doing?
Just take myself off mute there. I'm just sitting here laughing at all the people in the chat, preempting your opening speech.
Cheeky bastards,
from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Monday, the 10th of June. They literally had it word for word. I'm all right, Malcolm. I'm still got the remnants of this virus. I feel 100% better than I did last week, but still not fully over it. But I am ready. I'm off work all week, and I'm spending the week whining and dining, Malcolm. It's all going on this week.
I know why, yes.
Helen's 40th tomorrow. So we are out for tasting menu with wine pairings, hotel for the night. So I whining and dining tomorrow night, Poland this weekend. So all going on. So thankfully, I was ill last week instead of this week. If it was this week, it would have been a nightmare. So I've got my mother down at the moment to look after the kids. And she's just started today with the throat, the cough, the nose. Literally, she's picked up the virus I've had for the last week. I've now passed it on to my mother. So she's not happy at all.
Well, after I took the piss out of you, Baz, this week, I've been in London this weekend, had a lovely time. Where did I go? Friday. I drove down on Friday, went to the Honky Tonk Bar in Highgate on Friday night. Saw a couple of singers and had some nice cocktails and that. Then went to baseball. So I actually went to Spitalfields Market, Barry, on Saturday morning. Food lovers, absolute delight. Had duck and chips. It sounds simple, Baz. Unbelievable. There's just a little stall and they do duck. I was like, well, what's your bestseller? Duck and chips. I mean, it sounds too good to be true, but duck chips, coleslaw, and a big whack of hoisin sauce. Went to the baseball on Saturday afternoon, was fun, then travelled back yesterday. But my point is, I've started to feel a bit ropey today now, Baz. But it might just be the travelling and the fact, you know me, I'm not very good at being busy. And I drank on Friday and Saturday, so hopefully I'll be all right. But it would just serve me right, having taken the piss out of you, to come down with something. So the key question, Barry, is, this might help all the gentlemen in the chat. It's your lass's 40th birthday tomorrow. What does Barry Penaluna buy his other half for our 40th birthday? We allowed to say that now, or is she within earshot?
I'm fairly confident she won't hear me, and I'm almost certain she won't be watching. First of all, I've paid for a trip to Poland. So this weekend we're in Poland. Nice restaurant booked, a nice hotel booked. Tomorrow night, we've got a really swanky restaurant booked. So it's all wining and dining, really.
So you booked all this for you then. So what have you done for her? Rather than things you want to do?
I've got some theatre tickets.
Oh, nice.
Which, again, I'll enjoy. Wine tasting. Again, I'll enjoy that. So that's down just where you've been. We'll be there next week. But again, she doesn't know that. And tomorrow we're going to go shooting.
Shooting what?
Clay pigeons.
Wow. Does she know that?
No.
Oh, fucking hell, good luck. Thought I was bad at buying presents, Baz, but that's incredible. Oh, well, if I read in the paper that an angry clay pigeon shooter turned a rifle on a hapless partner and 6 o'clock news tomorrow night, we'll know exactly where to look. So stand by, everyone. We might need a new host come next week. If Barry's hiding up a tree or something. I love all of those things, Barry. What a kind, thoughtful man you are.
Michael Roberts says he didn't have me down as a Tory. I can definitely confirm I'm not one of those.
Remember, we're all fuck the Tories. Bob and Alfie have still been singing that from that they learned at St James's Park last week.
Football and success in the household today, Malcolm. We had a school cup final for Chloe. They ran out 6-1 winners in the South Notts Cup. So that was a nice to finish the football season off. Still going on here in the school football, but yeah, that's a season finished with a nice cup final win as well.
Bob's lot played friendly against some team that come down from Scotland. I'll not name the team just in case, but apparently they were proper Raji, like they quite happily kicked shit out of any little English player that they went next to. They picked up 4 yellow cards, Barry, in the second half. That's the most yellow cards I've seen.
Well, funnily enough, the cup final I've watched today, you never see a card in girls' football. Never.
Yeah.
Just doesn't happen. I haven't seen one in 3 years of coaching girls' football. I've not seen a yellow card given out. Anyway, the referee today, I don't know if you've seen that meme where there's the bloke looking in the mirror pointing at himself, saying, "Get in there and make it all about you." That was this referee today. From the very start, you could tell he was just going to be 15 minutes in. He booked the girl for kicking the ball away. And then it must have been about half an hour. He booked another one for a couple of fouls, which were barely even free kicks. But then he was proper referee. So he's like 1, 2, 3, 4, yellow card, like proper over the top. There was just no need under 4-15s girls football. Even when they were making subs, like the teacher would say who was coming on, who was coming off, and the player would just run on the pitch, and he was like, "Get off the pitch! You don't come on the pitch until she's off the pitch." Like proper ridiculous, like absolutely ridiculous. It was obviously his big cup final. It was his big day. He wanted his moment, and he got it. Yeah, a couple of yellow cards. He must be really proud of himself.
No, I'm not really having that. That's ridiculous. I've told you, I think we've had this conversation before, but I find refereeing the easiest thing in the world. It's just the kind of person you are. And obviously that kind of person, it's like being a union rep. We have had this conversation before. There was a third one actually, it was referees, union reps. And I can't remember what the other type of person was. But it's the ideas for all of these professions are great, but it's the fucking people who get involved. Absolutely no need. So these little Scottish kids were quite unpleasant, like kicking the ball away and just being generally awful. All they wanted to do was beat the English at something. And they did, so why not? The chat, like you say, Baz, was full of beans. Everyone in there nice and early taking the piss. We've got a nice ambience going now where people just feel free to take the piss out of us, Barry, before we've even done anything. Callum was chief amongst them tonight. Lloyd was in, Lee Smith, Harry, Chelsea. Serial, hello, mate, how you doing? Michael Roberts is here as well. So if you are lurking, say hello and let us know what sort of picks you got going on. Relatively quiet, Baz, build up so far to the Euros. It's not like, the news today is, or the news over the weekend has been, because there hasn't really been any, it's all just bubbling along nicely. I haven't really turned my mind to it much because, I was busy last week and then being in London all weekend. So really today was the first day that I've turned my mind to it, but build-up does seem a bit low-key.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't know if it was just because our TV is dominated by politics at the moment, that there's very little build up to football. I'm sure it'll change come Friday. But like you, I've just been very busy with other stuff. We had the football club presentation at the weekend. We had family down yesterday. We were out for a meal last night, and busy sorting stuff out for the rest of this week. So, like you, haven't given a ton of thought until really today. But I'm definitely looking forward to getting stuck into the first round of matches as well in the next couple of days and seeing what sort of takes me fancy over the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. As Robert D sticks his head in the chat, he's got a pick. It's Patrick Schick to be the Czech top scorer at 2-1. I like that. We talked about Schick. The only thing I'd mentioned with Schick the other day was I wasn't sure how fit he was. There was a bit of a nagging injury doubt about Schick. So the plan tonight is we're going to cover the outright markets, but we're going to do it in such a way that we're going to factor in our £1 million picks as well. So we did £1 million show for the World Cup, and we both came out on top. We did £1 million show, which, if you remember, really was the ultimate test of the two hosts on the show, and we both came out on top there. Although I was won slightly more than Barry. So we'll spread a mythical £1 million around any market that we fancy. And we'll see how we get on. We'll come across all different kinds of things as we meander amongst the markets. But make sure to check out the new daily podcast dedicated to giving out underdog picks on the network here. We all love a bit of new stuff. The Daily Dog, new 10-minute episodes every Monday to Friday. Just search for The Daily Dog wherever you get your podcasts. And with NFL, we'll be creeping up. The Circa have announced giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes via Circa Survivor and Circa Millions. Sign up in Vegas and play from anywhere with footballcontestproxy.com, promo code SGP to get $50 off. That's footballcontestproxy.com, promo code SGP. Right, okay. So I'm going to make my first pick here, Baz, from the outrights market because we haven't dipped into the outrights market, and it's a market that a lot of people will be listening to find out who we fancy to go through. Let's have I'll list the top of the market here. England are the favourites at 7-2 plus 350. France next in at 4-1. Germany 11-2. Portugal 7-1. Spain 17-2. And then it is 14-1 bar, which brings in Italy. So 5 teams here at single-figure odds. If you bring in Italy, Belgium, and the Netherlands, you've got 8 teams trading at 16-1 or below. That's each way half the odds, 1-2. So it's absolutely wide open. You can make cases, as we have done in the past. One of the first little teams I'm going to mention here, I'm going to mention 2 teams that I haven't actually picked in my £1 million picks here, and that's the 2 big priced outrights, Barry. It's Hungary and Turkey that I've mentioned recently, and the only reason is the format does lend itself to some teams at big prices going deep into the tournament. I think the 32-team format is better for the actual sport, for the spectacle, but the 24-team tournament format means that 3 fourth-place finishers will get through. So you can squeeze your way through without being great. And then you might get a soft draw in the round of 16. We did this in Africa. We did this in Asia with success. We got semi-finalists and finalists at 100-1. So I definitely think that's an angle in. It's not something where you're going to let it ride to try and win it 100-1. But if you get to the quarter-final, you could hedge out a little bit. You could take a 20 quid on the Oppo to beat them in the next round, whatever. I'm saying Hungary at 80s. I'm saying Turkey at 50s, actually. So both have contracted a little bit since I got involved about 3 weeks ago. But my main play, Baz, it's going to be 250 grand, and I'm going to take France at 4-1. Track record. I tried to. The other thing about the 24-team tournament is it's really hard just to write out a bracket. You can't just, as you could with a 32-team World Cup, you don't know where your teams are going to be at every point because the 4 third-place teams just kind of get dotted around all over the place. So it is difficult. I did try, attempt it. And basically, I got France through to the semi-final with the easiest route through than any of the top teams. And their semi-final opponents I've got as England, So that's where you run into a bit of an issue here. But I think they look absolutely fine to get out of their group. I've got no problem with them topping their group with 9 points. Poland, Austria, and the Netherlands are in the group. Belgium in the round of 16. I think Belgium not nearly as good as France. And then we get Belgium was the quarter final. We're looking at Turkey. I had them playing in the round of 16. Turkey, Belgium, and then we get to England in the semis. Played well in the World Cup. They've got your star man in Mbappe. I just think there's less chinks in their armour than anybody, less question marks, Baz. So my first play to win $1.25 million is France. 250 grand at 4-1. That's my outright pick, Baz.
Yeah, so I've got 2 picks in the outright mark. Well, actually, I haven't. I've only got 1 pick, but I haven't actually taken the team I think will win it, or the team I fancy to win it at the odds. I haven't took them in my £1 million picks, but I'll explain that in a minute. I think starting at the top of the market, I think England can win it. I'm not too concerned about the performance last week. Doesn't really bother me at all. But I just think the odds on England don't offer any value. 7-2 is far too short. As good a squad as they've got, let's be honest, they've always fell short in recent years. And until they can get over that hurdle and finally win something, then they're hard to support at a price of 3-1, 7-2. It's just really, really difficult. Small margins in the World Cup for England against France, obviously, but ultimately France come out on top. And you've already mentioned there's a good chance England, France meet each other in the semi-finals. I think you'd probably make France potentially favourites there. Again, I thought France were a little bit too short. I don't really want France at 4-1 either. Again, you can make the case for them, absolutely. I just didn't like the price. In a tournament where I do think it's competitive, there's a few teams can be involved. You look in the chat straight away, there's been talk of France, England, Portugal, Germany's been mentioned. People are all over the place. It is wide open. So 3-1s and 4-1s for someone to win it doesn't appeal. Germany at 9-2, likewise, doesn't get me interested. Record isn't great in this tournament for home sides. And I just think there's better squads around than the Germany squad. So you get to the 4th in the market, Portugal. Someone in the chat's mentioned 7-1. I saw 8-1 earlier for Portugal. And that's a price I do like. And that's where I'm going in terms of who I fancy to potentially win it. Do I think Portugal win it? Possibly. I just think a better value. I prefer me money on Portugal at 8-1 than I would England at 7-2. I think I'll get a better run for it and a bit more fun out of it. We talked a little bit about Portugal the other day, how they qualified really well, won every game, conceded only 2. They did have a favourable group in qualifying, really quite a straightforward group. But I think, in my mind, they've got the easiest group here as well. So they'll come through qualifying easily enough. But it's the squad for me. That squad is absolutely stacked, full of quality. And it's not all about Ronaldo anymore. They've got Jota, Rafa Leao, João Felix, Pedro Neto, Ramos, to name a few, in the forward positions. And in midfield, Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, Neves, Nunes, just absolutely full of quality. First 11 and down on the bench as well. I think there are other squads that are as good, but at 8-1, I think this is the one that appeals the most to me. So my outright fancy is Portugal. But where I've gone in terms of a pick from that is I'm hedging it a little bit, and it's one that worked out well for me in the World Cup where I took Argentina to get to a semi-final. Obviously, I could have been bolder and done better out of that. But I'm taking Portugal to get to a semi-finals at 6-4. 300,000 of my £1 million is on Portugal to make a semi-final. Because it does become difficult at that stage. But I think 6-4 is a good price. I see Portugal qualifying well and going through a few rounds. At 6-4 is a price I like. I have got one other pick. So 300 grand on Portugal to make a semi-final at 6-4. My little outsider, you've gone for Hungary and Turkey. I'm going for Austria as my little outsiders, yeah. Because I think they can surprise a few. The big price, 80-1. And I think that price is a bit bigger because of the fact they're up against France and Netherlands in the group. In our group previews, I said I fancied Austria to qualify. I think you took Austria to qualify as well. They finished just 1 point behind Belgium in the qualifying. They've got a recent win over Germany in a friendly, and they've lost only one of the last 16 games. I just think they're going to be competitive. I really fancy them to get out of that group, potentially at Netherlands' expense. And then if they do, they might go similar to you, a couple of rounds in to the knockouts, and you might get a decent position where you can hedge out of it. But my little outsider pick is 25,000 each way on Austria at 80 to 1 in the outright market as well.
Yeah, I like that Austria pick, Baz. It's the same as Turkey and Hungary. And in the group preview, I gave out France first, Austria second as a straight forecast. If Austria qualify in second place, I've got them playing Romania in the second round, and this is what we're talking about. You squeeze through, or you get through in second with one good result, pretty much get you through, and then it's either Romania, and then all of a sudden you're in the quarterfinal. Into 80 to 1, you can make a little bit of your money back, or you've got to, if you're having a daft fiver on, makes no difference whatsoever. Loads of other markets we can get to. Underdog Fantasy have just launched Pick 8. That's now live for the NBA Finals. Create entries with up to 8 picks. Underdog automatically double flex entries, so you can miss up to 2 picks and still win. With more picks to make and extra ways to win, the excitement is higher than ever. You can win 325 times your original amount. So don't miss your chance to try that out before it's gone. Use our code PLGP to claim your special pick and first-time deposit up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code PLGP. Okay. So next up, I've got a couple of group-related bets, Baz, and these are picks that did come directly from our group previews. We preview D to C and D to F separately. So if you haven't listened to those two shows, just scroll up, down a little bit, and you'll find those two. My first one is a win treble, Baz. So it's a 3-team parlay to win the groups. Teams I think look most solid, which is England, France, and Portugal, all to win the group. The price is 21 to 10, so plus 210 for that treble, Baz. And I'm going to stake 100 grand on that to win 310. The second one is in the not to qualify market, and actually two of my favourite picks are the next two I'm going to give out to you. Robert D's throwing out Scotland to lose every game, and I factor that in here because the double is Scotland and Georgia not to qualify. Scotland are even money, which makes the bet. I think it's a great price. I just don't fancy them at all. It's a tricky section. Obviously, Germany look home and hose. Switzerland are a good side, and everyone kind of likes Hungary. We all like Hungary, which leaves Scotland as the odd man out, unfortunately. So Scotland and Georgia just aren't quite good enough. So that is 100 grand at 2 to 1. The Scotland-Georgia double is 2 to 1. But my absolute favourite play for the group stages is Georgia to score under 2.5 goals, Barry. 200 grand at 5 to 6, minus 120. You won't have to wait forever for it to get paid out because it's just a group stage bet. So 2 weeks, that'll pay out. And then you can reinvest. You can fire some more bullets at the group stages. But, I mean, to lose this, Georgia either have to score twice in one game, which I don't think they're capable of, or they have to score in every game, which I don't think they're capable of. I watched them against Greece in the playoffs when they got through, and they're not going to try and score a ton of goals for a start. And even if they did, they're not very good. Where they might pick up a point is they might nick a 0-0 draw. They might nick a 1-1, but I can't see them. They're not prepared to take the handbrake off. That's not how they're going to play, Baz. I think it's a great bet. 200 grand, 5 to 6. Georgia under 2.5 goals.
Right. What was your treble to start with there?
England, France, Portugal.
What's funny about that? This is a shambles. My group treble is England, France, Portugal at plus 210. £150,000 at plus 210, just over 2 to 1. However, and the other one, so that was totally, our own work. My next bet is Georgia under 2.5 goals.
Fucking hell, Barry.
But however, in your defence, I stole that from you simply because I took Georgia in the group preview for no points. And then you mentioned the under 2.5 goals, and I absolutely loved it as well. I thought it was a great bet, and I had a feeling you would stick it in your £1 million. I was hoping you might have forgot about it, but I have gone the same place. Credit where it is due. It was your pick, but I have got it in my £1 million. So I think it's a brilliant bet as well.
Don't credit me until it's
well, no, I know, but if it does win, I have absolutely plagiarised that from your selection. So I've got 250 grand. I'm a little bit more confident than you. I've got 250 grand, and I've got it at evens, Malcolm. It was definitely evens today when I looked this afternoon. So put it down as evens.
Mine there, then.
250 grand. Georgia to score less than 3 goals. And as I say, I've got 150,000 on France, England, Portugal as well. Have you got anything in the scorers group? In the top scorer market, sorry.
Golden Boot.
Yes.
I do have a player, yes, but yeah, go on then, mate. Lead us off with that.
Let's dive into that first. I mean, you're usually looking at around 5 goals needed to take this. Four will usually get you in each way place. I think the average for the last 5 tournaments has been 4.6 goals to take the Golden Boot. But history suggests it's all about the group stage. Nearly everybody that wins this has to pick up 3 or 4. Like 3 is a minimum in the group. Tiebreakers, it would go on assists if it's a runner-up. So, if you want to factor that in, someone who does get a few assists as well helps. Kane's the 11-2 favourite here. And although I've dodged England as a favourite in the outright market, and I'd probably normally go looking around for some better value in this market, I think Kane's a viable option for this. Schick took it last time. We mentioned him earlier. He took it last time. Nobody would have been predicting that one at the start of that tournament. But prior to that, Griezmann, Torres, Villa, all sort of prominent names who would have been at the top of the market. So I think Kane's definitely worth some consideration. He's averaging almost a goal a game for England over the last 12 months. He's done the same domestically for Bayern. He's scored something like 44 in 45 games. He scored 8 in his last 10 competitive games for England. He doesn't just get them all in all the friendlies. He does have a good record in competitive football. We know he's a penalty taker. He's in a group that looks fairly straightforward for England. And I can see him getting the sort of 4 that you require in the group stage. That would give him a big shout. So I like Kane at 11-2. And because I'm all over Portugal, I'm going to go for Ronaldo as well at 14-1. We know he'll be on every set piece, free kicks and pens whenever he's on the pitch. They've got Georgia in their group, so potential. We think they're the weakest side in the tournament. And I just fancy that group with Portugal in could have a few goals in. So again, there's potential for Ronaldo to get a good chunk of those goals against some of the lesser sides early on. Ronaldo at 14-1 was another one I like. So I will have 100 grand on Kane at 11-2. And 100 grand on Ronaldo at 14-1.
Fucking hell, Baz. Right, so this is a bit more. We've got a bit of a crossfire here, Barry, and it's obvious why this. I've picked Bruno Fernandes, Baz, at 40-1. Now we've hit on the fly in the ointment already. Is it Ronaldo is going to take all the stuff, where Bruno Fernandes is quite good at the stuff. However, I mean, he's an old man. Like, he might be getting 60, 65 minutes. They might nurse him through the tournament.
Absolutely, yeah.
Fernandes, in his own right, might get the odd free kick or might get stuff later on in the game. Very often this can be settled by kind of one game as well. Robert D saying Lukaku could get a ton in the group stages, which is absolutely right. Harry likes Kai Havertz. I looked at Havertz actually, 28-1, but I couldn't pull the trigger. I've taken the piss out of him all year. It would be disingenuous to take Havertz at that price. So I just thought 41 was too big. And because we've got Portugal going relatively deep into the tournament, I had them going out at the semi-final stage. And like you say, they beat Georgia 4-0, 5-0. And Bruno gets a couple of late doors. They've got Turkey and the Czech Republic in there as well. So I've got 25 grand each way at 40-1, Baz. So just a little pick here. But I have got a linked bet because I do, for all the reasons we've just given about Portugal scoring goals, Portugal to be the highest scoring team, Baz, are at 7-1. Just outlined the group opposition that they face. 50 grand, it's 7-1 to win 400. Portugal to be the highest scoring team. 7-1 there, but.
Yeah, I'd point out one Serial's mentioned in the chat as well was Bruno Fernandes to be most assists, which I thought was quite a good shout as well. Don't mind that one at all. I can't remember what price he said. I think it was 13-1 for Bruno Fernandes most assists. I've only got one more pick.
Right,
I'm finishing off with. I'll let you jump in, and then because I think you've probably got 2 or 3 left.
I've got a pick here, Baz, which I really like, which is based on Switzerland. And it's the stage of elimination for Switzerland, which is the last 16. Feels like Switzerland. I could have probably looked this up rather than just saying it feels like. But I'm happy just to say it feels like that Switzerland get knocked out of the last 16 of every tournament they've ever entered. So they're in that group with Germany, Scotland, and Hungary. So even though we like Hungary possibly to finish second, I've got Hungary and Switzerland on 4 points. So if you win a game, you're effectively through. We're taking Scotland to go out, which means Switzerland go through either second or third, regardless of where they qualify out of this group. They run into Portugal, Belgium, England, or Italy. It's a problem, and they're going to be 3-1 underdogs. They're not a bad side. They defend okay, don't they? They've got those 3 decent centre backs, Manuel Akanji and Fabian Schär, and I forget who the other one was. I mentioned him in the show last week. But they will get through and they will get beat. And they're a nice price, Baz. It's 11-8 plus 137 for Switzerland to get turned over. So my bet is 150 grand at 11-8 to win 356. That Switzerland get eliminated in the last 16. A couple of picks left. Tell you first about Rhythm. If you're betting on NBA player props, you need to download Rhythm. Rhythm gives you a menu of the best player props for every single NBA playoff game, making it easy to go through and find the best props to put your money on in seconds. Rhythm's predictions are backed by over 3 years of data and a team of data scientists and quants that focus on fine-tuning our algorithm to give you the best shot at winning. Rhythm pairs its predictions with player prop graphs to help you feel even more confident whether you're making bets or setting a DFS lineup. Claim your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Right. I've got 2 picks, Baz, but they're in the same market, so it's kind of half a unit on each. But what's your last pick here?
My final one is a very brief one. It's a player of the tournament pick. And again, a lot of my £1 million picks here rely very heavily on one team, and it's Portugal again. If Portugal do go all the way through, a man who could potentially win the player of the tournament. I've gone for Rodri at 33-1. I just think he could be the one who might get it. You look through the sort of history of it. When Spain were winning it, it was Xavi and Iniesta getting player of the tournament. Not always the ones getting the goals. So Rodri for me, 33-1. When Portugal lift the trophy, Rodri will be player of the tournament at 33-1. He'll have 50k of my money on at that price.
Rodri. Okay, like that, Baz. Nice angling. A lot of love for Jota in the chat at 50-1. Portugal's Diego Jota. Robert D's given us a little beauty here, which is Virgil van Dijk to have 1 or more headed shots on target in the group stages at 11-8. That looks outstanding. So yeah, I love that. Serial, we have got the same semi-finalists, mate. Spain v Portugal and France v England. A bit of bracketology for me and Serial the same. My last picks here. I'm just giving out Portugal as being the highest scoring team. I'm going the lowest scoring team. 2 teams that have featured before in my feeds: Georgia at 9-1 and Scotland at 10-1. 50 grand on each to win 500 and 550,000. Like I say, I'd be surprised if Georgia scored 2 goals. They might get 1, but I'd be surprised if they score 2. Scotland might surprise us. I don't know. I turned the telly on this afternoon and John Carver was on there again, down on the quayside. Like the Quayside's the only place in Newcastle you're allowed to be interviewed. He was stood in front of the Tyne Bridge giving his thoughts. And they might do, but like we just said, they've got no strikers. They've got that little industrious midfield of McGinn and McTominay and Billy Gilmore. They're all 5'4" with big arses. I just can't see them. And like I say, I'm quite sweet on the three teams in that group as well. Swiss from a defensive point of view, Germany and Hungary. So yeah, I'll take Georgia at 9-1 and Scotland at 10-1 to be the lowest scoring teams, Baz. And that is my £1 million spunked up the wall. Same as you. Anything else? Any other thing to catch your eye, Baz? Anything to point out?
No, not at the moment. As I say, looking forward to getting stuck into some of the games now. I've barely done anything from a gambling point of view for the last 2 weeks. And I've it's been quite refreshing, just not thinking about anything too much, not having my life consumed by constantly watching scores. But don't get me wrong, I'll be looking forward to it all again Friday. Although, to be fair, I am taking the missus away for our 40th birthday all weekend. So I will be very, very limited as to how much football I get to watch. And we might find a bar for the England game on the Sunday night. But other than that, that's probably all I'll actually watch this weekend.
Poland not playing when you're away, Baz.
Poland not playing, yeah. I can't remember who they've got, but they have got a game over the weekend.
Netherlands.
So might be a tasty one to go and find.
Yeah, they got the early game on Sunday against the Netherlands.
So yeah, we might catch up. I mean, we'll be all sort of ready for a relaxing day of football. Maybe by Sunday after wining and dining and drinking and everything for Friday and Saturday, we'll just get football in on Sunday.
Fantastic. That sounds fun, Baz. Well, happy birthday to Helen as well. Happy 40th. That's fun. I don't think I've got anything else to tell you, Baz. I feel like I'm on really just ramping up now, having had a busy sort of 8 or 9 days. I've had a right good fun 8 or 9 days. Like watched England, played at St James's, been to London, eaten and drunk like a king, saw some live music. So yeah, I've been very fortunate the last few days. It's been really, really good fun. But yeah, we can ramp up to this now. Plan is probably Wednesday or Thursday for the picks show. There are 7 games over the weekend, so we'll do Wednesday or Thursday night for the pick show, and then we'll be back maybe Sunday or Monday. Baz might have to sit one out for the early picks next week, but we'll sort that out. So I'll schedule the shows. We'll post on Twitter, so just keep your eyes peeled. Like if you're looking forward to getting involved. I've got nothing else to add, Baz. I'll thank everyone in the chat. The chat was great. Everyone has got a load of. I'm going to go back through the chat and write a lot of this shit down, Baz, because I've missed a lot of it. And I've seen about 9 picks whiz past my eyes, scrolling up, thinking, oh, that looks good, that looks good, that looks good. I love Robert D's Van Dijk's header on target. So I'm going to scroll back through all of this and make a load of notes. Baz, anything else to add?
No, that's all from me.
Perfect. It's coming home, says Callum. Champion, thanks, everyone. Good luck with anything you're getting on with this week. And it's all systems go for Friday. We'll be back, like I say, at some point this week. Till then, we will see you down the road. Cheers.